Before Twitch, before Discord, before gaming fame became a career, before every top player had a YouTube channel, a live stream schedule, a sponsorship code, and a face cam, there was one name every RuneScape player knew. A name shouted in banks, typed into friends lists, chased across worlds, searched on the high scores by millions of curious players. That name was Zezima. To some, he was the greatest RuneScape player of all time. To others, he was a mystery, a myth, a player so famous that seeing him in-game felt less like meeting another person and more like finding a god wandering through Lumbridge. But behind the legend was not a streamer, not a celebrity, and not someone chasing fame. Behind the legend was a player who simply could not leave a goal unfinished. This is the story of Zezima, RuneScape's first god. Subscribe. To understand Zezima, you have to understand the world he appeared in. RuneScape in 2001 was not the massive, polished MMO people know today. It was strange, simple, rough around the edges. A Java game that ran in your browser created by the Gower brothers and passed around through word of mouth, school computer labs, libraries, and early internet forums. There was no giant content creator ecosystems, no perfectly optimized wiki culture, no guides telling you the exact fastest method for every hour of progression. A lot of RuneScape was still a mystery. Players learned by experimenting, they died to things they did not understand, they got lost. They trained skills just because they seemed interesting, and the game's level system was almost absurd. Level 99 was not originally something the developers expected many people to even reach. It was a distant ceiling, a number so far away that in the earliest days, it felt almost theoretical. But people underestimated the degeneracy of RuneScape players. If you put a goal in front of them, someone will try to max it. And in the summer of 2001, one of those players arrived.
My name is Zezima, and I've been playing since 2001. I've had continuous membership on RuneScape since 2003, so I've been around a long time.
He discovered the game through another online game called Triple Triad X, a Final Fantasy-inspired card game. And according to Zezima himself, he was already one of the top players there. Then one day, a friend told him about another game. A game that his friend said he would never be good at. That game was RuneScape. So he made an account. And when Zezima first entered the game, he was not a god. He was just another new player in Lumbridge, training on goblins, trying to understand this strange open world. And in RuneScape Classic's earliest days, danger was everywhere. Player killing was not restricted the way it would later become. The world felt harsher, more chaotic, and less explained. But that environment was perfect for a certain kind of player. A player who liked testing limits, a player who enjoyed long-term goals, a player who, once he started something, did not want to stop. Zezima's first favorite skill was smithing, and that matters because smithing in early RuneScape was not just another skill. It was slow, expensive, repetitive, and deeply prestigious. Being able to smith rune items in the early days meant something. This was before the modern RuneScape economy became flooded with knowledge, guides, and optimized methods. Back then, high levels were very rare. A level 99 was almost mythical. But in July of 2002, a little over a year after starting the game, Zezima achieved his first 99, smithing. A few months later, in November 2002, he got his second 99, cooking. From there, the milestones started stacking up. Fishing, mining, fire making, agility, magic, woodcutting, thieving. One skill after another, Zezima kept climbing. And somewhere along the way, Zezima stopped being just another high-level player. He became the name people recognized. In October of 2003, Zezima reached the #1 overall rank in RuneScape. Not #1 in a skill, not #1 in some temporary event, #1 overall, the top of the entire game. But Zezima himself later explained that becoming #1 was not exactly the original plan. He was trying to max, he was chasing completion. The rank just happened along the way. And that is one of the most important parts of his story. Zezima did not become famous by trying to become famous. He became famous because he kept finishing things nobody else had finished. Then came RuneScape 2. For many players, RuneScape 2 was the beginning of the game's golden age. Better graphics, a bigger world, new systems, new players, and a new skill, runecrafting. For Zezima, RuneScape 2 created one of the first major interruptions to his dominance. When runecrafting launched, he did not immediately train it. Another top player, ChopperMad, did. And for a moment, Zezima lost his #1 rank. But this was Zezima. The gap did not last. Once he started training runecrafting, he caught up quickly and regained his position. That pattern would repeat throughout his career. By 2005, RuneScape had grown massively. The high scores mattered, the community was larger, and Zezima was no longer simply a top player. He was the top player. But the achievement that truly turned him into a legend came on July 9th, 2005. Zezima became the first player to ever reach 99 Slayer. With 99 Slayer, Zezima became the first player to reach the maximum total level at the time, 1,980. In other words, he had maxed RuneScape. Every skill, every 99. The game did not have an ending, but if it did, this was probably the closest anyone had ever come to reaching it. For thousands of players watching the high scores, this was the moment Zezima became something larger than a player. He had climbed to the top of RuneScape and planted his name there. Then later, the same year, farming was released. The maximum total level changed, so Zezima just did it again. He became the first player to reach the new maximum total level of 2,079. That is what made Zezima different. He was not remembered for one lucky moment. He kept doing it again and again and again. But fame in RuneScape was strange. Today, if someone becomes famous in a game, they usually have a platform, a stream, a channel, a face, a voice, a brand. Zezima had almost none of that. He was famous because the game said that he was number one, and because the community turned that rank into mythology. Players added him to their friends list just to see when he logged in. If someone saw him online, they would tell all their friends, Zezima's on this world, and suddenly all the players would swarm. They followed him, spammed him, tried to trade him, tried to get screenshots, tried to talk to him. For younger players especially, seeing Zezima in game felt impossible, like seeing a celebrity in your hometown, and the mystery made it stronger. Nobody really knew who he was, what he looked like, what his life was like.
Zezima is a legend, a myth. I think he doesn't exist.
Even when Jagex featured him in the official RuneScape documentary, the mystery stayed intact. Viewers finally heard from Zezima himself. They saw just enough to know there was a real person behind the name. A glimpse, a chin, the edge of a face, but never the full reveal. And somehow, that made the legend even stronger. After all those years, even in an official documentary about RuneScape history, Zezima was still mostly hidden. Some people claim the account was shared, others invented wild stories about who was behind it. In an official RuneScape documentary, Zezima joked about hearing rumors that he was a girl from Australia. He also joked that people thought he had a group of elderly women rotating shifts on his account. Jagex staff addressed the account sharing rumors directly, saying they investigated and found no evidence, but rumors do not need evidence to survive. If anything, the mystery made Zezima more famous. He was everywhere and nowhere, known by everyone, understood by almost no one. But there was another side to the legend. Being Zezima made RuneScape harder to play. In interviews, he described private chat becoming almost unreadable. A blur of messages, constant attention, constant interruptions. Training certain skills became more difficult because people would follow him. Buying supplies became harder because people would fake trades just to interact with him. Even showing his bank was risky because people were already trying to steal, sell, or fake access to his account. And this is where the Zezima story becomes more human. Because for all the jokes, all the memes, all the worship, he was still just a person trying to play a game. Yet publicly, he often seemed calm about it. In the Jagex documentary, he said being so well known helped him manage negative comments better, both inside and outside of the game. On August 9th, 2006, Zezima even had an in-game RuneScape wedding with a player named Eliane STP. They exchanged Dragonstone rings, and the ceremony was officiated by a player named Big Knockers. Jagex moderators were there, other famous RuneScape players were there. The wedding is just another moment that's ingrained in RuneScape's history. By 2007, RuneScape was exploding. YouTube was becoming a major way for players to share the game. PK videos, music videos, guides, and strange RuneScape culture were spreading everywhere. And Zezima was still the name above all names. Then on June 14th, 2007, he reached another historical milestone. 1 billion total experience. The first RuneScape player ever to do it. Think about that number in the context of old RuneScape. 1 billion XP before modern training methods. Before the game became faster, more documented, and more optimized. It was proof of a level of commitment that most players could barely imagine. The official documentary later had Zezima describe the grind as more than 10 hours a day for 5 or 6 years. And when he explained why, the answer was simple.
When I first got number one, it was pretty exciting. It was interesting. I wasn't exactly aiming for it. I was just going for maxing out, but it was nice when it happened.
But no rain lasts forever. In 2008, Summoning was released, and at this time, Zezima did not dominate the way he once had. Other players moved faster, the game was changing, the methods were changing, the community was changing, and Zezima's relationship with RuneScape was changing too. Around this period, he stopped playing competitively in the same way. One explanation he gave was that the game felt like it was getting easier over time, and that this reduced the sense of accomplishment. As RuneScape evolved, achievements became more accessible, training methods improved, updates made old grinds easier. The meaning of maxing changed. To new players, this was progress, but to someone like Zezima, who had done everything the hard way, it could feel like a mountain was being lowered after he had already climbed it. And so, his time at RuneScape's undisputed #1 came to an end. But the legend did not. Zezima never vanished completely. He continued playing. He achieved 99s and newer skills. He competed in seasonal high scores. He remained part of the RuneScape community long after his rank 1 reign ended. In 2013, Jagex awarded him a Lifetime Achievement Award at RuneFest. By then, other players had surpassed him statistically, but Zezima's place in RuneScape history was untouchable, because he was not just another name on the high scores, he was the first name that felt eternal. The name people even knew if they had not played in years. The name that represented an era. And that brings us to a question people still ask today. Where is Zezima now? The answer is not some dramatic disappearance, and he never really turned the Zezima name into a modern content empire. Instead, the modern version of Zezima feels almost exactly what you would expect. Quiet, low-key, still online, still private, but not really chasing RuneScape fame anymore. For a while, Zezima streamed on Twitch. His channel listed RuneScape 3, Old School RuneScape, and League of Legends as games that he streamed, but the most revealing answer on his Twitch page is about Old School RuneScape. When asked why he does not play Old School RuneScape competitively, Zezima says he's already put over 41,000 hours into training his main account, which is kind of funny because after all these years of people treating him like the final boss of RuneScape, his public profile reads less like a gaming celebrity brand and more like a normal guy who just likes games. And he does not have plans to start over. For millions of players, Old School RuneScape was a chance to go back, a chance to relive the golden age, a chance to start over in a version of the game they remembered. But for Zezima, that golden age was just nostalgia. It was real time, real years, more than 41,000 hours on one account. The mountain everyone wanted to climb again was the mountain he had already climbed. His Twitch has been quiet for years. His last listed streams were back in 2021. He still has a public Twitter account where he continues to post updates and small glimpses into his life, not as someone desperately trying to keep the legend alive, just as himself. And even after more than 20 years, he still has never truly given people the one thing they wanted most, a face reveal. At one point, he even played into the joke. He did a fake reveal where, instead of showing his real face, he simply took the helmet off of his RuneScape character. That was it. That was the reveal. And on his Twitch page, when asked about a face cam, his answer is basically, do not get your hopes up, because the mystery was always part of the legend. In an era where everyone is expected to show everything, Zezima still feels like someone from an older internet, where all you really needed was a name on the high scores, and the entire game knew who you were. Zezima lasted because he belonged to a very specific moment in internet history, and maybe the perfect ending is that there's no big ending at all, just a username that still means something more than 20 years later. You never really quit RuneScape, you just take a break. I just wanted to say thank you for watching. My name is Zach and this is a brand new channel, Max Level Lore. If you're interested in more videos like this, hit that like and subscribe button, that way I know to make more videos. Peace.